Imagine waking up one morning to the sound of pounding at your front door, only to find police officers standing there, demanding to see the dog you supposedly own. A dog you have never bought, never adopted, never even borrowed. Behind the officers stands your neighbor, the infamous self-proclaimed queen of the HOA, insisting you've broken the rules, screaming about late-night barking and property damage. And when the officers find no trace of a dog, she doesn't back down. No, she doubles down, dragging you into meetings, filing reports, and eventually calling her lawyer to sue. But here's the kicker. The dog never existed. At first, life in the neighborhood seemed peaceful. The main character, a hard-working homeowner, had chosen this community because it promised quiet streets, tidy lawns, and the kind of stability most families dream of. The houses were neatly aligned, driveways filled with bicycles and parked cars, the kind of place where kids rode scooters and neighbors waved hello in passing. On weekends, the air often carried the smell of charcoal grills and fresh-cut grass. Beneath that surface calm lingered the watchful eyes of the HOA, and at the center of it, Karen. She wasn't just a board member. She was the enforcer, the self-appointed guardian of every lawn, every trash can, every mailbox. Some neighbors whispered about her, others kept their distance. But everyone knew one truth. If Karen decided you were in violation, you were in. For a storm. At first, the homeowner kept a low profile. Bills were paid on time, the yard was well kept, and the house followed all the guidelines. But Karen thrived not on order, but on control. She scoured the neighborhood for the slightest infraction. A flower planted in the wrong color, a mailbox painted in the wrong shade, a garbage bin left at the curb for too long. Her reputation wasn't just strictness. It was intimidation, and then, out of nowhere, the homeowner became her next target. It started with whispers, claims that a dog had been seen on their property. Karen insisted she'd heard barking. She claimed the dog had damaged common areas. She filed petty complaints, with the HOA, each one escalating in tone. At first, it was laughable. The homeowner didn't even own a dog. But Karen's obsession didn't fade. It grew. Karen's campaign began with letters, official-looking notices from the HOA, claiming violations of pet ownership rules. Each letter demanded fines, photos, and proof of compliance. The homeowner responded the only way possible: there is no dog. But reason never stood a chance against Karen's determination. Soon, fines arrived in the mail. $100, $200, threats of legal action if the dog wasn't removed. The homeowner appealed, attending meetings where Karen presented her case with fiery passion. She waved around blurry photos of paw prints in mud, claimed to have recorded barking at night, and even pointed to chewed landscaping as evidence of an unruly animal. But every shred of so-called proof fell apart under scrutiny. The recordings were faint noises of crickets and distant cars. The paw prints didn't even match a dog's size. And the landscaping? Damaged by a neighbor's sprinkler system. The homeowner wasn't alone in their disbelief. Neighbors began quietly speaking out. Some admitted they had been victims of Karen's accusations too, fined for cars parked inches too far forward, threatened for holiday decorations she deemed unacceptable. But while others had paid the fines just to make her go away, this homeowner refused. That's when Karen escalated. One morning, police officers arrived. She had called them, claiming the homeowner was harboring a dangerous animal. The officers searched the property, backyard, garage, even the inside of the home, and found nothing. They left, apologetic but frustrated. Yet Karen wasn't embarrassed. She told anyone who would listen that the homeowner had hidden the dog during the inspection. Her obsession reached a fever pitch. She began driving past the house at odd hours, taking photos. She left notes taped to the front door. She even confronted delivery drivers, asking if they'd seen the dog. It was harassment in its purest form, and still, she wasn't done. The HOA board, swayed by her relentless campaigning, authorized legal action. Karen's personal lawyer was brought in. The homeowner now faced not only harassment, but the looming threat of being sued for thousands in supposed damages caused by an animal that didn't exist. The community buzzed with gossip. Some sided with Karen out of fear. Others quietly rooted for the homeowner, frustrated by years of her abuse. Tension in the neighborhood thickened with each passing week, and through it all, the homeowner held firm. With every letter, every notice, every knock on the door, their resolve grew stronger. If Karen wanted a fight, she was going to get one. The case finally reached a courtroom. On one side sat Karen and the HOA's attorney, armed with binders full of flimsy evidence. On the other side, the homeowner, represented by calm logic and undeniable truth. The judge listened as Karen spoke at length, describing late-night barking, ruined flower beds, and terrified neighbors. She waved around photographs of paw prints, blurry and inconclusive. She cited noise complaints that no one else had filed. She spun a story so elaborate it bordered on delusion. And then came the cross-examination. When asked to provide proof of the dog's existence, adoption papers, registration, a license tag, she had nothing. When asked if anyone besides her had ever seen the animal, she hesitated. Witness after witness was called, each one testifying that they had never heard or seen a dog at the property. Delivery drivers, neighbors, even the mail carrier. Not one could corroborate her claims. The homeowner's defense was simple, direct and devastating. There is no dog. The courtroom shifted. Karen's confidence crumbled. Her voice cracked, her arguments unraveled, and her once commanding presence shrank under the weight of truth. The judge's ruling was swift and brutal. The lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice. The HOA was fined for abuse of process. Karen herself was ordered to pay restitution for legal fees, sentenced to community service, and warned that filing false police reports could result in criminal charges. The gavel struck. The case was over. And with that sound, years of Karen's unchecked power collapsed. What followed was more than just a personal victory. The story of the dog that never was spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. For years, Karen had ruled through fear, but her defeat gave people courage. Neighbors who had once avoided confrontation began questioning every HOA decision. Attendance at meetings skyrocketed. Voices once silenced by intimidation now demanded transparency. The homeowner became something of a local hero, not because they wanted to, but because they had stood their ground. Their choice to fight, rather than bend, changed everything. Karen, stripped of her authority, found herself isolated. She was quietly removed from her board position, her influence gone. Neighbors avoided her, crossing the street rather than enduring her wrath. What had once been power now became shame. But the impact stretched beyond one community. The bizarre case drew attention from nearby neighborhoods, sparking discussions about HOA abuse and accountability. Other boards adopted safeguards to prevent a single person from wielding unchecked power, and for the homeowner, the aftermath was sweet. No more fines, no more threats, no more constant surveillance. Just peace and the satisfaction of knowing the truth had not only set them free but reshaped their entire community. In the end, the story wasn't about a dog at all. It was about power, control, and what happens when lies meet resistance. Karen may have called the cops. She may have hired lawyers. She may have fought as though she could bend reality itself. But in the end, the truth stood firm, stronger than rules, stronger than threats, stronger than her obsession. The neighborhood moved forward, lighter, freer, united in relief. The homeowner, once the target of a phantom accusation, became the quiet hero of their community. Their victory wasn't loud, but it echoed in every backyard barbecue, in every meeting, in every laugh shared at the absurdity of a battle fought over a dog that never existed. Because sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't shouting back. It's simply proving them wrong. So let me ask you this. If an HOA to ruin your life over something that didn't even exist, would you stand your ground and fight, or would you walk away?